Hello ladies and gents, welcome back. Alright, I'm gonna give you my reaction video of the Djokovic versus Alcaraz battle. In advance, this was a very hyped match, perhaps the most exciting match of this decade. It was between the new superstar of tennis, Carlos Alcaraz, against Novak Djokovic, the undisputed best tennis player in the world so far, maybe of all time. It was similar to the generation exchange when Sampras faced Roger Federer in Wimbledon 2001. Was the new guard gonna beat the old guard? Is he gonna dethrone him, Novak Djokovic, in real? We all know that Grand Slam is another task, but I was very curious about how Carlos will gonna handle the pressure. And I was curious about how Novak Djokovic will handle Carlos Alcaraz extremely firepower that he has shown through the years. And before this tournament, I thought to myself, I'm going to give a prediction. And I said before this tournament that I stick with Novak Djokovic due to his experience, but with a small margin. Last year, when Carlos Alcaraz entered the French Open, I think he was ranked around 32, and he has taken some huge steps since then. But people seem to forget sometimes, because I'm not counting those two last sets that Novak won, because Carlos Alcaraz was clearly injured. And Novak just did his job. He put the ball in play, and even though Carlos reacted bravely, fought to the end, really tried to cause some damage, but the third and the fourth set, Novak gave him a breadstick in each set, and it's very sad when that's happened. But you have to face the truth that Carlos Alcaraz, a fresh name on the tennis circuit, the world #1, won at US Open. His gaming style, his playing style is so crucial. It's very high risk. He really put everything in every shot, and I hope that he doesn't fall in the pattern of Rafael Nadal. And he's 19 years now, I think 19 or 20, Carlos Alcaraz, and he has already been injured before, and I hope that he recovers very quickly from this injury. It looks like an stretch injury, but the medical team will examine him and try to see what exactly happened, and hopefully he recovers and come back as quick as possible. All right, this battle between these two giants, because several generations through the history has tested Novak, and Carlos was just one of those guys, but clearly the best guy so far, if you count all of the other generation, due to that youngster's firepower and game skills that he has. It was an I forgot the word. Everybody was so looking forward to this battle, and both of these guys started out very slow, very cautious, but it was windy conditions for both of them. It was tough to get the right focus and move their legs to time the ball, to hit the ball clean. It was so many unforced errors out of Carlos Alcaraz racket in the first two sets. Novak did a little bit less unforced errors. He played more safely, like against Novak Djokovic. You can't hit through him like you have hit through Tsitsipas and other guys like before this semifinal. You really have to play that extra ball. Novak won't allow you to do that. So that's due to Novak's flexibility and his court coverage, and of course the smartness, the great tennis mind that Novak Djokovic has. It's very difficult to hit through him, especially on clay here, which is a much slower surface than the hard courts, where you really have that extra margin of a second or hundredths of a second. So the king, will call Novak the king right now, because he has dethroned, even though Carlos was the #1 ranked player, Novak will take over that position. Now he has reached his 7th French Open final, and he's out here to collect his 3rd title. The king was here. The king roared. The king was here to mark his territorium. And his territorium is of course the tennis court, and he wanted to show the world that I'm still the king. I'm still gonna reign here. I'm the guy to beat. And how did these two guys play? Because before this match, this was gonna be a war zone. The tragic end in this match was very disappointing. Everybody wanted to see a fair and tough battle in the end, but it's not Novak's fault. He really had just to focus and put his thoughts on his game and not think about that Carlos Alcaraz was injured. But Novak is a professional. We have seen that before. All right, I'm going to be in step to step because the feed was a war zone. And I'm going to go in on some subjects, and I'm going to sum up who played that better in these segments before Carlos Alcaraz injury happened. To start with, we have, I'm going to give a little bit of a match analysis, and Novak was squeezing in, Alcaraz tried to squeeze in Novak Djokovic in the corners. And if he wanted to execute that plan, he had to play perfect tennis and not sloppy tennis like he did in the first two sets. Even though he won the second set, he wasn't by margin the better player. But in the first set, he spread those unforced errors. All credit to Alcaraz's defensive game, because you saw on the field before the injury how he was a light version of Novak's defense game. He goes after every ball. Novak really had to be sharp, and he really had to put out some of his best tennis that he had in him to win those rallies. But his offensive was not that good. He did too much unforced errors in the first set due to that windy condition, due to that he was nervous. And Novak played smart. He didn't give Alcaraz too much a high pace to work with. He dragged down the tempo in the match. He dragged down the pace. And he put the charge on Alcaraz's racket and just put the ball in play, and eventually the unforced errors came, and that was a genius tactic. In my opinion, it was a no-risk tactic because he won that first set very comfortable and started out almost the same in the second set. But something happened. Novak got broken 3 times. The last 3 service games in the second set, he got broken. He saved the 3 set points when Carlos Alcaraz had in the first break, in the second break there, but came back. And in the end, he couldn't resist that firepower from Carlos Alcaraz, who clinched the second set. Too bad. It was 7-5. I wanted the tiebreak there. And like we saw in the beginning with Carlos Alcaraz, it doesn't matter how you have played before. Now you are facing Novak. Every battle is every match is a battle. You have to start all over again. And Novak has done that for 17 years since a professional player. And he really played the match in Djokovic's hand, because Novak played tactical smart and allowed, like I said, Alcaraz to dictate. And Novak played smart, went for the trigger in the right moment. And in the end, Novak was the better guy. I don't know if Carlos didn't get injured. I don't know what the outcome of the match would have gone. But all right, let's look into the segments. If you start with the serve, Novak protected his serve better. He was better on the returns because he attacked Carlos Alcaraz's second serve, which Carlos Alcaraz finally realized that he has to attack Novak's second serve. And that's why he managed to broke him the last 3 times in the 3 times in the second set. And the return game, we all know that Novak played high risky tennis. He didn't invite Carlos Alcaraz so much. He played his kick serve out wide. He really put him out of the corners and really did his best to protect his serve. And the baseline rallies was almost 50-50, but I'm going to give Novak the little smaller margin of the edge, because Novak really, when he switched gears, when he accelerated the trades from the baseline, you saw that why Novak has been on top of the tennis for so long time. You could really see the glimpse of the old peak Novak there, even though he's not that same player that he was in 2011 or 2015. You could really see that Novak digs that. But if you want to see Novak play that beast mode level tennis, sometimes you have to drag it out of him. You have to ask him the questions. You have to make a competition, because Novak is a kind of a mood guy. If he goes to by safe mood, he will go by safe mood and just do his job. But if someone is pushing him and squeeze him and try to hit through him like Carlos tried, he takes out the best of him, the best tools, and just work on his offense and defense. And now, and the third segment is the unforced errors. Carlos, too sloppy, too many unforced errors from his forehand. If you want to beat a guy like Novak, that forehand, your best offensive weapon, he really needs to work to perfection. It didn't, and that's why he lost the first set. And onto that, you have to surprise your opponent. You have to mix up the game. Carlos tried, but some of those drop shots, and when Novak put the ball back in play, he really gave the ball back to Novak instead of putting it in another corner or make Novak run. He didn't take the right decision making, in my opinion. So I give Novak that edge too. And of course the net game. In the net game, Carlos did plenty of unforced errors for a guy like him. He was nervous and he was not sharp enough. Novak did his job. He did some unforced errors also from the net, but when he was rushed to the net. But all in all, much more solid than him. And the offensive, I will give Novak that too, even though Carlos really tried. His approach is, of course, offensive, and he really tried to do his best. I think he tried to do his best, but he wasn't sharp enough today. And Novak played okay offensively, but he won that match due to his smart tactics. The defensive game, both played pretty similar. Both was rock solid from the baseline, protecting every rally. They tried the best they could on the serves. And when the ball was in play, you can see why Novak Djokovic had won so many Grand Slam. You don't win 22 Grand Slam by a coincidence. You win that because you are not like somebody else. And Novak is not that regular guy. He's something else. So I thought after the first set, why does Carlos really have a plan B? Because his regular plan A, was to try hit Novak through Novak with all the force, with all the power that he have. It didn't work. Everything he hit and gave Novak, he got it back. And then in the second set, when Novak didn't serve that great, he really took his chance. But all in all, before the injury, I still thought that Novak was the better player by a small margin. And now that he had to retire on these terms, I feel very sorry for Carlos Alcaraz. I really wanted, because this could have been a 5-set battle. It could have been a 4-set battle. It could have been an epic thriller. And it was too bad that perhaps the biggest battle, the biggest match so far in his career had to end in this tragic way. All right, that only leaves, what did I say before? Novak will go through, and the winner here will take the trophy. So I'm gonna give you, with all due respect to Casper Ruud and with all due respect to Alexander Zverev, I think the guy, the only guy of those, the guy that are in the semifinal, the only guy that can take out Novak Djokovic is not Casper Ruud, it's Zverev. He has that firepower. He has the weapons to hit through Novak Djokovic. Ruud doesn't have that. Everything that Ruud does, Novak does at least 5 times better. Zverev, at least he has his backhand. He has his tremendously good serve on a good day. And he can mix up the game. Casper is too defensive, and if you are too defensive against Novak, you have nothing to collect from him. And that's why I say now, I'll stick out my tongue or nose or whatever you want and say that Novak Djokovic will be the 2023 Roland Garros French Open champion. And I say that because I believe that, and that's my preview. And I would like to thank you for watching this video. Take care and bye bye.